not recording yet. Boom. There you go.
We are recording. All right. So, welcome to Conversations with Dannette. This is season one, episode one of the video version of my podcast. Mind you, I do have about 60 episodes on Spotify under the same name, but we're starting fresh, we're starting new. So,
We're showing faces.
I want to introduce my co host, Andre Escobar. Hey, Andre.
I did that.
So,
Hello,
what do you go
audience.
by anyway? What do you go by
Andre
as far as your
Escobar.
official name?
Andre Escobar.
Andre Escobar? Okay, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Like
So,
that's
what
what
have you been up to? Actually, I want to
that's
know
what the people
what
know
have you
me
been
as.
up to since we last were together? Since that's what we were talking about a second ago.
Since we were
That we've
last
known each other
together,
since 2011. We used to be like, we used to just talk and giggle, talk
all
and
day,
laugh
every day, we
all
were
day, every
together,
day. Remember? Okay,
breaking
so
the fucking day.
I have one thing I want to do before I get started, right?
Right.
Because I remember that one time with Valerie, where she was showing us pictures on her phone. Remember that time? You were right there when Valerie was there, and she acted like this girl was so mixed up. She acted like she had not shown us pictures on her phone because she knew she could get fired for that. And then when we went in the room, and I was talking to Raylene about what had happened because we were all in trouble. That's funny how people think in a all grown adults in a business we can get in trouble. I think that's so retarded.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, I'm grown. It's like, why the hell am
It's
I worried
fuck.
about you and I'm gonna get in
You can be
trouble?
as mad as you want to, but I'm not gonna be in trouble.
Exactly. I'm not gonna be in trouble. Like, stop that. That's BS. So we went in the room and she said that I called her the N word. That's what Valerie said to Raylene.
Who is Valerie?
Valerie is that church girl. She acted like she was all extra church girl. You don't remember Valerie?
That whole so irrelevant? No, I don't.
Oh my God. But anyway,
I don't.
yeah, she was all
I
mixed
can't
up.
even recall the incident you're talking about. Like,
You don't
it's only
remember?
a handful of people from RDI that I remember from that long
Oh, that
ago,
is
and
so
Valerie just so
funny.
happens to not be one of them.
That is
I
so funny.
remember
Well,
Jakara. Is that her
I
name?
remember Jakara. Jakara had a problem with me for no reason. Jakara had some
Girl, let you tell it. Everybody
misinterpretation
had a problem for no reason.
about me. Because I remember when Jakara first came, we welcomed her and she had invited us to some type of housewarming or something. And I never had a problem with Jakara. And then suddenly Jakara has a problem with me over something that what's her name? Rachel has said, which me and Rachel are not friends. Because that girl does not know how to be a friend.
Oh, I
Um,
remember Rachel.
yeah, Rachel is a little twisted herself. I had a
Her
falling out
wig
with
was always a little
Rachel.
twisted too.
Yeah, they're all a little twisted. I don't know what was wrong with Jakara.
Girl, wig used to be
Um,
on backwards.
I don't know what her problem was, but she was always trying to make it seem as if I had said something about her. It's like, girl, you're not on my radar. Like, I don't talk about people. Number one, I don't have to talk about people,
Ooh,
even though
I
I'm
do.
talking about people now, so I'm breaking my own rules. But
I talk about people.
um, I don't talk about people because it's not important to me to um get at people like that. It's like if we're not having a good time, it's like we might as well just go into our own little corners
Oh,
and
it's gonna be a good
do
time when I'm talking about
ourselves.
people. I
Yeah,
usually
it's
talk
like
about
just
people
do
to
you.
people.
I'm doing me. You know. But yeah, Rachelle, I told her about YouTube, and I said, "Oh, you can learn all kinds of things on YouTube," because she wanted to start a jewelry business. And I was like, oh, you know what? She can learn all the different styles and how the different ways and materials she can use. So she really loved this. When I told her about it, she told me, don't interfere with her business. I'm like, what? I'm like, girl, I have no clue what you're doing with business, but I'm thinking that if you want to be an artist and you want to design jewelry, hey, you can learn all that. You hadn't gone to school for it. So you can learn all the different styles and materials you can use. And she was just kept on doubling down on I'm interfering with her business. I'm like, girl, I don't appreciate your tone nor your attitude toward me because I don't come like that. It's like I come
Right,
with love. I'm not coming at you
right.
like I care about what kind of money you're making. I could give a fuck, right?
I'm trying
But
to help you make more money, be more
yeah,
successful in
I'm
your
just saying,
business.
hey,
Like
as an
this is just a
artist,
little bit of support,
I raised
a
artists,
little
so
bit
it's
of
like,
guidance.
yeah, I was like, master your craft. I'm on that level, like master your
Right.
craft if that's what you want to do. So anyway, let's get started. So the first thing we wanted to cover, like we were discussing, was what were they thinking. So the next segment is what were they thinking. We have a couple of headlines that we're gonna address, which is the first one, the most popular one, is this Carlee Russell situation with this
Right.
girl pretending that she was abducted. And so, what do you think your feelings about this 25-year-old who seemingly pretended to get kidnapped?
Oh, you want me to go first?
Yeah. Go first. Go.
um, so I feel like there's one major component of, you know, relationship and, getting through life that people tend to forget. And it just so happens to be, like what was life like prior to, like we're not thinking
Yeah.
about, what she was experiencing, what she was going through, how she was feeling, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. So
it's a
what
cold,
made her do
cruel
that?
world. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Right.
She ain't told her story. Can't nobody explain how she felt and
Yeah.
what she was dealing with but her. So everybody right now is just speculating and coming up with whatever. Like me
Yeah.
personally, I like to give people the benefit of doubt. Like I wasn't
Yeah.
there. I don't know. So I
I
can't
feel
really
that.
say that she dead wrong or she this, that, and the third. And people got so many comments. I tell you what though,
They
she
do.
gained national attention. She was
She
smart
sure
enough to get
did.
out there and get enough people to feel like whatever was going on, like sometimes people get in that position, they lose all hope and they end up killing themselves, like
Well, right,
she could have
right, right. We
been
don't
in
want
a
her to do
hopeless
that.
situation, you know what I mean? And this
Yeah.
is what she felt like she needed to do for whatever. Or she could have been, on something and fuck around and made all of these bad decisions and now this is where she at. But again, we haven't
Yeah.
had that conversation with her to really know, so all I can say is damn.
I
Like
know.
girl,
That's all I
your
can
your
say too.
wig,
It's
your
damn
wig,
girl. It's like
your
now the
wig.
whole world knows. And we all
Right,
know that you were Googling all of these things. You were searching the internets and the interwebs of all of
right.
these different situations.
Of how to get
And
away
it's
with murder.
just right, exactly how to get away with this. So
Stealing
she's
money out
got
the register without getting caught.
right. She's got lots of explaining to do. And I'm just trying to
Right,
figure out number one, when you're trying to do some nefarious ass shit, you gotta think that stuff through. Think it
right,
all the way through.
right.
And don't get yourself in a situation like Carlee Russell.
I mean,
Um,
but listen though, her if her point was to make people think she was kidnapped, guess what?
yeah.
She
It's like,
succeeded.
yeah. But it's still like a
She
wonk,
gained the
wonk,
sympathy
wonk.
of the whole nation only
That's
because she
true.
came
That's true. At
home.
the
You know what I mean? Like
beginning,
she could have dipped and
everybody
been
was on
gone, and
board.
we would still be out here like, where the hell is Carlee Russell? Return our girls. America
Exactly.
don't
I saw the
care about
video.
black women. You know what I
I,
mean?
I,
Like,
mind you, I didn't hear about it until after the fact, until after she got caught. And then I went back and I was looking at all the people who were like trying to call out for her rescue. And I was like, she really did convince a whole nation basically that she was missing and she needed help. So it started off right.
she did
But
whatever it
unfortunately,
was that she accomplished to do. But
right,
now, you got to deal with the consequences of your actions. And that's
right.
a
It's
lot of
like,
shit people, that's the part that people don't think about. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
people put you in all different type of situations and then don't think about the consequences of their actions. And now you got
yeah.
to face the fury. And again, it's a cold, cruel world. So
Oh, yeah.
they,
But in
they
the
dragging
hood,
her
you know what
ass.
we learned
Hey, and
early?
what they say, her thin-haired mama,
What?
yeah, the internet was dragging. They said they was dragging her ass and her thin-haired mama, and I think her fat-faced daddy or something. They were saying like the people don't give a fuck. Okay, they
They
don't
so
care none at all about your feelings.
they
They
so
don't care about your
mean.
dead grandma, baby, and don't let it be a
They
baby that
so
you
mean.
miscarried. Because what? They don't give a fuck.
I know.
Especially,
But you
but
know,
again, it's a consequence of your actions. You put yourself in this position. Nobody
that's
really
true.
kidnaps you. You know what I mean? Had
That's
you
true.
really been kidnapped, then somebody could come to your defense, But up until you
Right.
get to up there and tell your side of the story, they have the right to put together the facts of what they know
Yeah.
and
To
drag your
speculate,
ass and your thin haired
and
mama.
gather their own conclusions. That's what America does. They draw
That's what we do. You
conclusions.
guilty until proven
Guilty as
innocent
hell
around here.
until somebody can prove you innocent and double
And
down
we
on your
still ain't gonna believe
innocence.
it.
Right, right. Well,
You just gonna
she
get off.
started a
You got away
whole
with it.
thunderstorm, and we're talking about it. So everybody's talking about it, and
Everybody
everybody's
talking
curious
about
to
it.
find out what's gonna happen next for her. Because are they gonna press charges? Are they gonna charge
Right.
her or fine
But
her?
that's
What's
the
gonna happen?
question. What do you think should happen to her for it?
Okay, so I feel like she needs a reprimand, but I don't think she needs the ultimate punishment. I think she needs to be. It needs to be the record needs to be set straight that when you do stuff like this, something's gonna happen to you. But because of the fact that she's a young black woman of 25, I would surely not to like. I wouldn't want to see her life end or her not be able to get a job because I heard she got fired
Okay.
from her job. You see
Okay.
what I'm saying? So
Right. But at the
now,
same time, so for me personally, okay, I feel like if you have, and people hate when you bring race into it, but again, she's a
mm,
young black woman. And when you black, like you experience that every day, all the time,
yeah,
everywhere you go and everything that you do.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's
So,
like it's not a good look. It's kind of like it's off-putting to hear about these types of situations where people are seemingly being fake
yeah,
and phony about what's happening to them and trying to get away with something because it's like for those who are experiencing those types of situations in real life, it takes away from how people will, care about when it happens to somebody
definitely,
else.
right? But hear me out though. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
although we all feel like she should be reprimanded, I feel like, you know, if that type of action is going to be taken against her, then,
Hmm.
every conversation about a woman who claimed rape that was lying,
Right.
anybody who has ever, went forward with some type of damning information, those white women that get on the phone and call the police and weaponize them against black
Right.
people, you know what I mean? Like when they get away with
Yeah.
shit like that, I feel like
Right.
if we're going to be, want to make an example out of a person like this for something like this, never mind in her mental and emotional state that she was in, again, because we haven't had that conversation yet, right?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like people really just out of hate, you know what I mean? Like really will put you in a position to where they trying to end you, like, and we don't
Yeah.
do nothing about it. So I feel like, like, no, we don't want to just brush it away. But again, like what type of conversation, what do we do? Like, how do you handle this situation given the fact that again, it's a lot of times and, like, ooh, don't get me started, but fuck it. She a black
I
woman
know.
in America. Like,
I
okay,
know.
next time you pull some shit like this, then we're gonna get in your ass. But right now, like, move along, little girl, and stop fucking playing with us.
Right. Stop effing with the system, okay?
Stop
Because
fucking
real
playing
shit
with
is
us.
happening, and
You know,
we don't have
wasted our
time to play around
goddamn
with you.
time and emotions.
Right.
You know,
Waste
we don't
people's
give a fuck
time.
about too much and take too much shit seriously, especially as a black community, and you want to be out here playing.
I know. 'Cause, we gonna come for you. You see what I'm saying? Because you're messing with our own ability to kind of have people take us seriously.
Right. And
So,
it's a whole lot of black women in America that's still missing.
oh yeah,
That
oh
didn't
yeah.
get the type of attention that you did.
And didn't get the type of attention. So don't mess around because
Right.
then we have to get in. We have to get into people's asses about taking care of our people, but then we got clowns like this doing
Right, but the
things
thing
that
about it
make us
is though
look.
is that is people are really crazy in the world. You know what I mean? Somebody really fuck
Yeah,
around, be done kidnapped your ass this time, and now we ain't gonna believe it, bitch. Come out the bushes.
right. The girl who cried wolf. That's what that's gonna
Right,
be. The girl who
right.
cried wolf. All right, so let's move on. We are going to move on to this Travis King situation where I'm not sure. It's like we were talking about it earlier, and I'm like, this fool crossed over from South Korea to North Korea. I'm like, North Korea's regime is way more regimatic
Right.
and nefarious and dark than South Korea. But he was escaping South Korea because he had assaulted somebody. Um, what do you think should happen with him?
Again, the consequences of your actions. Like people get out here and like make these decisions. Like you said, he was convicted of assaulting people, but he was only fined like 3,000 American dollars. You said, and it was how many?
Yeah,
However they calculate their money, you know what I mean? And you
Mm-hmm.
make the decision to go and run and
And you made this decision to
be smarter.
defect over to North Korea, and I feel like
Now,
they
if the
could
story
torture and
comes out
kill
that they was
you.
gonna
I
try to
don't know how
kill
that
you
works.
in South Korea, or you was set up, or something else was going on, then hey, I don't know. But as far as what I know and where we at right now, I feel like it was an idiotic move. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm. I don't know. I just hope they
get out
don't
the
kill
army.
him. I just
I
hope
hope
they
they don't
have
kill
some
them.
type of a system where he is not mistreated. That's all I care about, really. Um, so
I hope it's worth it. Whatever he got going on and whatever he doing, like I really hope it's worth it. You know what I mean?
yeah, whatever he was thinking, you know what I
I
mean?
hope it's worth it.
Whatever he was thinking. All right, so this is a good time to get into
Dance.
the meat of our whole podcast, basically, which is to talk about the types of topics that typically people don't necessarily have conversations about. And just on a serious note, I feel it's so important for us to learn as a community, just as the Black community as a whole. We have been pushing the idea of going to therapy, but at the same time, we also have to push the idea of beginning to listen to one another and hear each other and understand the need to just vent sometimes in life to be able to kind of move on. That's really what therapy does. I've been to therapy. Have you been to therapy?
I have.
You have?
I love it.
I love it. I love it. I
I love
really
it.
do love it. I had a great therapist
Like my
who
first experience was actually
mhm,
kind of eerie. It was an older
mhm,
white woman. We didn't really connect. I didn't really, like it. But then my second go round, it was an older black woman. You know what I
mhm.
mean? And when I came in and we had our first like session, and she was like, are you okay with, somebody talking to you like they your mama? Like you being a
Yeah,
mother figure in this session and having this conversation. I'm like, yeah, like that's totally cool. Like that's fine.
right,
But
right.
being able to go into a space and be able to be completely naked and unashamed,
Yeah,
and have
and
somebody who
understood.
can unbiasedly give you guidance. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
when they try to instruct you and tell you or help you or guide you or give you, points or key points or,
right.
like coaching, it's not in any type of gain for them. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
regardless of the fact of whatever you hear, the time is spent, they're gonna get their money. You know, like, but
Yeah.
their job, their whole point, the whole reason for them being there is because they want to see if people be better. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
And they
definitely.
don't want to judge you. Like they want to give you the opportunity to be in a safe space, as long as you ain't
Oh
out here
yeah,
trying to
in a
harm
safe
yourself or
space.
somebody else. You know,
Right.
and but it's kind of understood why in marginalized communities it's not something that's accepted or understood, because we don't ever really get the opportunity to be in safe spaces, like
And
nowhere with
that's an
anybody.
important point that we don't get to be in safe spaces. That a lot of the times growing up, and this is only in some households, not all households are like this. We're made to feel afraid, or like we're gonna like the whole getting in trouble, quote unquote, getting in trouble idea is
Right.
something that comes from when we were growing up. That you know, the one thing I'm against as a parent is making your child feel like they're going to get in trouble. I don't know where that comes from. I feel like a better way to position any type of parenting situation is being held accountable. So it's just the positioning is so important because getting in trouble kind of leads to people doing things behind somebody's back and lying and trying to sneak to go do what they want. But when you try to say, "Oh, I'm going to hold you accountable," like you're going to make decisions, but if you make bad decisions, you'll be held accountable. Is a better way to parent people or teach people. And that's something that we need to grow
Or grow
into as a
people.
community. That it's not cool to just be a person who just spanks your kids. Like it's not a bragging rights type situation. It's important to teach your kids. Spanking is neither here nor there. I don't think hitting somebody is going to get them to do right. Statistics show that kids who get beat or spanked, they're not smarter, they don't do better. So why are we continuing to do things like that that don't seem to improve the person, in and of itself? So
Yo, I think she
yeah,
just called me dumb.
what you say?
I think she just called me dumb, y'all.
I didn't call you dumb. Oh,
Cause
you
I
used to
got
get
my ass
spanked. I
beat.
think we all, yeah, we all got whooped. I
Spanked
got
my
I got
ass. I got
spanked.
my ass beat.
I know, but to me, okay, so you tell me, when you got beat, do you feel like you learned in those situations? Can you go back and say that when I got beat, I learned and I changed?
Um, I don't feel like when I got beat, I learned or I changed, right? But so there's a lot to unpack in this,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So um, the position, you hold in a position that children don't need to be spanked or there's no need for corporal punishment,
Mm-hmm.
like it's not in most cases, in some situations, not even in most cases, but in some situations, it is very true that corporal punishment isn't necessary or needed. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like you got situations where, and not everybody makes a decision to be in this position, but you be having situations where you got one parent, usually a single mom with multiple children, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And they find themselves to be in a space where having to be able to barely make it or afford not being in the best of neighborhoods. You know what I mean? Mom having to go
Yeah.
to work, kids go to school, they be outside playing with their friends, and all of that time and all of that influence, all of that
Yeah.
visual, you know, um, like how do you say, like lust and like the things that they are paying attention to. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it gets hard when you want to sit down and have a conversation with your child and try to get them to understand that I'm trying to guide you in the direction that's best for you. Like I not
Right.
necessarily that I want to control you. And yeah, I know you see that it's a lot going on out there, but that it don't work for everybody like that. And a lot of
Right.
times you find yourself in a whole lot of trouble or you end up dead because
Right.
of, the flashy things, like they don't really understand or there's not really opportunity to fight against the pride of life, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes, and the
Right.
kids being outside and in the streets, like, and this is just from my own experience, like I
No, I
was a
understand.
kid who grew up in a peculiar place at a peculiar time, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like it was crazy. And when I like got out of that space, I realized that there is nowhere else in the world that I've ever experienced that was like it. But there's other
Right.
places like that everywhere that you go. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we don't really give enough time and attention to those of us who were mostly affected by the boom of the crack epidemic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you have kids in that time in that space, like what do you do? Like what do you
Yeah.
suggest? When I've talked to them until I was blue in the face,
Right.
you know what I
Well,
mean?
I
Like
feel like
now, go ahead.
the one thing, okay, so I've raised kids. My kids are 33, 28, and 26, okay? And my kids didn't get involved in a lot of things. We lived in weeklies, we lived in a lot of places where they could have gotten involved in certain things, but because we had a certain philosophy in our household that, number one, I believe in prevention is better than cure. Like I can't send my kids out in the street with unprepared. I have to tell
But it
them what
was
to look
also
out
two of y'all,
for.
right?
It was the two of us. So
Right.
I was a husband and
So it
wife
was already a
household.
different type of
Oh,
advantage.
definitely,
You know what I mean? Like
definitely. But there are a lot more people today that are in two-parent households. I mean, not everybody is a single mom. That's not the story of all Black people, or
it's
all
not.
brown people. You know what I
It's
mean?
not.
They live in families. You see what I'm saying? We are whole families. And even when you're not a whole family, if you have mom there and grandma, you see what I'm saying? If you have multiple people in your life, uncles and people that take on the responsibility and the role of, the male figure in your life, then you're not in a broken home. You're in a different kind of you're in a new, a new kind of family, like a dad and a dad and a mom and a mom. Those are the types of things that are happening now, and we're not gonna we have to normalize it, because number one, we don't want to otherize people, and we don't want people to feel like somehow their life wasn't quote unquote normal. You see what I'm saying? Normal can mean whole lot of different things. But back to my point is that when you have young kids and you're sending them out in the world, it's like you have to arm them before they go. You got to help them understand before they leave your house that, hey, you know what, this is how we operate here. You know what I mean? And it's like I remember so many different times where along the way, of course, you have to coach your kids and help them get through obstacles with their bullies and other things that they encounter in life. But number one, you have to have a solid foundation from home. And even though I come from a two minister family, or my family was ministers, I wasn't a minister. I didn't bring church into my how I raised my kids. My kids are my son's an atheist, actually. To be honest, he does not believe in God, and I know that's a big controversial subject, but he has to decide how he's going to operate and navigate. That's a choice he has to make because it was
For
force fed
everybody.
to me. It was force fed to me, and I'm not mad at it. I feel like at the heart of being a Christian and loving God is doing it from your own fruition. You know what I mean? From inside your heart.
Right.
And
For you.
yeah, for me. And everybody's gonna take their own journey. I believe everybody deserves to take their own journey. Um, but
So I just a little, quick little insert though. Like me
mhm,
personally, I feel like, if it makes you a better person, I don't give a fuck what you're doing. If you go outside every day and talk to a rock, and that rock encourages you, like you might be in the world eyes of the world, that might be a little bit crazy, but if that makes you
right.
better, you know what I mean? If that helps you
Yeah.
along the way and you're not hurting people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you ain't taking advantage
Yeah.
of people, then that's your own personal business. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like my
Right.
relationship with God, my belief in Christ, and what happened for me in my life, that's personal. And
Yeah.
the only thing that involves other people with that is the reflection that I give and believing that,
Yeah.
the acceptance of my faith is that I treat people the way that I feel like I, was treated. You know what I mean? Like
Right. Right.
the understanding, the grace, the mercy, like all of that, I have to give it.
Right.
Like that
Oh yeah.
that's the stipulation of being able to accept the redemption that is necessary for my life. You know what I mean? Because Lord
Oh yeah.
knows.
Definitely. Definitely.
Wild
And I feel like
animal,
that's at the heart of what's most important is that as a human being, you treat people well, that you treat people the way you want to be treated, that you don't put people down and make them feel bad or shame others, that you try to be of help. Like my parents really emphasized being of help in society and in life. We helped a lot of homeless and drug addicted people to come into their own and have families and work and live actual lives because they were on the streets homeless and in despair. And to know that so many people were helped
excuse me.
um, is a motivator for me in life every day. I got to see my parents be of help in the world, and I always want to try to emulate that as best I know how in my own way, personalize it, of course. I do it through conversations. That's how I have been able to even get this going in my own head and in my own world because I realized and noticed that while I was talking to people on the phone, which me and you both do, um, that this is what was happening organically. You know what I mean? That I was able to just let people be and express themselves in ways that they probably don't get to express themselves with others. You know, where'd you go?
Oh, you can't see me no more.
I can't see you no more. Your name is still there though. There you are. You messing with the screen?
So, yeah, I like I feel like for me,
Hmm.
um, I'm definitely a servant. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But I feel like in the matter of like my job, like for the past few years, the type of work that I've done is the type of work that's really impactful for either the community or, like the world, like
Yeah,
I do my best to be able to assist people in loving their neighbor as they love
right.
themselves, being able to help people,
Absolutely.
enhance the quality of life. You know what I mean? Like that's what I feel like I was created for,
Yeah.
and I'm my best when I'm able to take advantage of that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like you said, like helping people. I don't
Yeah.
know
You
about
live it. You do live it. I
right,
remember you used
drug
to drive me
addicted
home
and
every day. Remember?
yeah,
You used to drive me home because I didn't have a way home. That was so sweet of
every day.
you. I'll be forever grateful because it is hard coming from Anderson, which is where I was living, the bus system. I was taking the bus. You know, we
Right.
had an Audi in the what you call it in the mechanic shop. I couldn't get out up until whatever. Took me 3 years to get that Audi out the shop.
That's crazy.
And then my husband totaled it that
Mm.
same year, like 8 months later. But that's a whole nother side of the story. But it's like I'm actually gonna go buy a car tomorrow. To tell you the truth, I'm gonna go get a car tomorrow because I'm like, I don't know. In my life as an older woman, almost 50, it's like I have to assert my independence to a certain degree and just prove points where I feel like it's whatever. I'm not gonna get into that though. Um, I just wanted to maybe move us along. Did you want to talk about that story about the church and what your experience was in the church? Tell me.
Um,
You don't have to.
I mean, no, we could touch on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because well, I know the first thing that I want to say is that when you are in church, and when you're
Mm,
dealing with organized religion, there's a certain etiquette that you're expected to have.
yeah.
There's a certain way that you're expected to carry yourself and,
Hmm.
like the whole nine. And that's what I mean when I say I was a problem because I was completely against that. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
wasn't willing to come in and pretend
Yeah.
that I was, you know, living this type of life and being this type of person. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if you will, like pretend like I was living like the Jews and I knew for a fact that I wasn't. You know what I mean? And I don't
Right.
feel personally that that type of action is what gets you into the kingdom if that's what you believe. You know what I mean? If you are a believer of
Right.
Christ and, heaven and hell and all of those things, like, those type of situations when we have conversations about people not being like the world, we're not talking about how you dress and wear makeup and how you wear your hair and
Yeah.
drinking or smoking and hanging out with your friends. Of course, you don't want to be consumed by nothing, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But if you accept your deliverance or you accept, the freedom that you get with being in relationship with Christ, then, you know, living your life and doing those things are okay. Like everybody can't smoke, everybody can't drink, everybody don't get to have Pepsi, everybody can't have Coke, everybody don't get to have sugar. Everybody don't
Right.
get to climb mountains. Everybody don't get to walk up the stairs. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
everybody's life is different. So you have to be able to tailor these things to your own personal, situation.
Right.
And I feel like when you're in church, like that's the type of conversation that you should be having. You know what I mean? Like you should be able to
Right.
allow people to come in and tell them the truth and make the decision to want to be in a relationship because being in that relationship means that ultimately I have to love my neighbor like I love myself. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
have to give these people the same type of respect for whatever situation or whatever it is that they do and that I would expect for myself. You know what I mean? If I didn't
Yeah.
want people all in my business or people shaming me about whatever, like, no, I don't want to be ashamed. But if I was in a place, I want to be able to come into this space and, let my hair down or take the mask off
Right.
or be able to be
To
comfortable and
be in a
have real
safe
true
space.
fellowship. You know what I
Right.
mean?
To be in
Yeah,
a
be in a
safe
safe
space.
space because that's what
Right.
it's supposed to be about, like to be able
Right.
to come out of the world and be able to, like disconnect from the expectations of or, like
Right.
the have tos because you don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you supposedly when you accept Christ, like that's supposed to be the it. Like you
Right.
accepted him, you good, it's cool, like cool. And when you come here, I'm here as a shepherd to be able to guide you through the
Yeah.
wilds of being out there in the world and dealing with people and being able to respond to, like whatever is going on,
Yeah.
like that's the type of guidance that you're supposed to get. And I feel like when you go into the church, like it's more of a control factor and they try to
Yeah.
use these scriptures in a certain arrangement to kind of scare you and
Right.
like you say force fed, and that's not fair because
Right.
you don't get to have true genuine relationship with God through Christ like you're
Yeah.
supposed to,
Yeah.
if that's what it is. Like I should be able to be naked and unashamed before God because that's
Yeah.
how he intended
I
our
agree with that.
relationship to be when he supposedly sent his son to die. Like that was the reason for the shedding of the blood because you're supposed to be able to be hidden in Christ. Like
Right.
we don't see those sins, but you do your best in your relationship with people, to make them comfortable and to let them know the goodness of Christ, which was the redemption that you received, like
Right.
which was the
Right.
blood that was shed. And we didn't focus on that enough. Like it
We
was
don't.
too, it's too,
I
like,
believe what I'm trying to. I hear what you're saying, and I'm gonna try to reiterate it in my own words. Where I
I can
feel
hear
like
you.
I've
I'm
gone
still
through the
here.
same type of experience, but I don't see your video again, Andre.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll be right back. I can hear
Okay.
you though. I'm still here.
Okay, that's good. And so I feel like I've gone through the same type of an experience where I felt like as a child who grew up in the church from as for as long as I can remember, my parents were preachers basically. And I believe number one, there's a misperception that oh Christians have to act in this certain kind of a kumbaya all the time way. I feel like that's just a misinterpretation of yes, God is love and Christians want to express love and unconditional love and things like that. That doesn't mean that we don't have like don't take my kindness for weakness, number one. Don't expect me to be all happy all the time. That's silliness to think that that's the demeanor of a Christian that we have to only be in a certain light all the time. We're very multifaceted people with all of the emotions. And I feel like what you're touching upon is that we have this way of conditioning each other into believing that we are not whole people that involve themselves in all of the workings of the world. We're in the world. You know what I mean? And for people to just think that we have to only operate in this way is just like I said, it's silliness. It's like we are multifaceted. We become angry. We have relationship problems. We deal with all of the worldly, good, bad, and different type situations. So um, it's important to, like you said, be in a safe space when you're at church. It is the time in which we're coming together to, to humble ourselves and to be grateful for just existing, but also to be understanding of our faults and our flaws and remind each other to be of good service to those even who are not Christians. You know what I mean? To those who have not come
Especially
into
to
the
those
light.
who are not Christians.
Exactly, especially for
Especially.
those who are not Christians. And so, but there seems to be some other dynamic happening in the church where we're more so ostracizers. Like, well, these people over there are not supposed to, or they haven't, and it's like it's not supposed to be that at all. Leave judgment up to God has always been my understanding of the Bible's philosophy that yeah, you leave judgment up to God. That's why Jesus came to save us of our sins. That we're saved as long as we repent and accept Jesus into our hearts. It's like I was talking to my mother the other day, who gave me a lot of great ammunition to talk about, where they had the thing about Sodom and Gomorrah, which leads people to believe about what kind of sin God is more upset about. But then there's no degrees of sin, so it's like sin is sin, and we shouldn't be ostracizing any groups in any ways based on anything, because he says, "Come as you are, come as you are," is the biggest message of the Bible. Come as you are, and I think that we lose sight of that as man takes over. We have preachers and people who kind of want to be judgmental and make people feel shamed. And I'm like, no, 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 that's not how that works. We're supposed to be loving, welcoming. Um, People are entitled to make decisions and choices. Even God gives you the choice to come to Him. You see what I'm saying? He's not mad at you when you don't. He
Right.
gives you the choice. And so all people who are under that Christian umbrella, I feel, and I don't like to use the word should, because should is an interesting dynamic of me demanding, but um, I feel like this is how we should operate as Christians. You know, we shouldn't make anybody feel ashamed because, like I said, um, even God gives us the free will to come to Him, and when we don't, He's not mad either. So it's like, and I don't think we should preach. I don't really believe in the part about being damned to hell. I don't believe that. Only because I've explored different ideologies, and I don't think that hell exists. That's my personal assessment. I believe that this is something that has been conjured up by man. Because I'm like, well, how many ways in which, how many ways have they discovered that this is actually true? And I really believe in trying to prove all things. Um, but I so far believe that that has been something that man has used to scare people, that somehow you're going to be damned to this fiery hell forever and for all eternity. So that's just a personal assessment. Um, what else do we want to touch upon, Mr. Salvador or Escobar? I think that um, I've been working really hard to be able to have these conversations. I think that I'm so grateful that you have come on with me today, that we get a chance to kind of express our different points of views um, about certain situations and subjects. Um, I do hope to do it more often. I feel like for each time that we do have these conversations, we're going to get better and better. And it's an interesting new place to explore. I know you like to talk. I like to talk.
Definitely like to
So,
talk.
yeah, we're some talkers. We're some
But I did
talkers for
want to say
real.
though about the whole uh, I did want to say about the whole heaven and hell thing, though. I feel like, just me personally,
Hmm.
when it comes to like people being in heaven or hell, I feel like it's more of a legacy thing. You know, it's more
Mm,
of an effect that you have in your relationship with people and where you die or where they place you and what the conversation is like. You know
hmm.
what I mean? And that determines your placement of whether you, for eternity, will be hated because of how you lived your life and how you dealt with
Hmm.
people. Like that's a real true hell to be in, to be
Oh yeah.
dead and not be able to repair these relationships, and the whole mass of people
Right.
really feel
Right.
like you are a horrible person. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then to be in
I
heaven would
feel
be,
that.
of course, the complete opposite. But that's just me. Like that's my
Yeah.
interpretation of,
Right.
having these relationships. And it's just in a matter of, like we were talking about parenting. Like I don't
Hmm.
think I would want my child to feel like they're gonna be in trouble, but I want them to
Right.
understand the level of disappointment that I would have if they out there doing something that I don't that's different than the expectation, like
Right.
different than the understanding that I've given you throughout whatever time we've had together, whether you be 4, 8,
Yeah.
10, 12, or 27. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if you outside of what the expectation of your moral compass that was instilled within you, then it's disappointment. And like that's just
Yeah.
my relationship with God. Like when they say fear
Right.
God, when you read in the Bible, I feel like
Mm.
my fear is that's my father, and I don't want to be no way a disappointment. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
never mind in the fact that I'm a young black gay man, but
Yeah. Andre.
sorry, somebody calling my phone. But
No, it's
can you
okay.
hear me?
Oh, now I
Okay, cool.
understand.
So,
That's good.
God forbid that I'm out here supposedly being a representation of him and,
Hmm.
what he is to me. And I'm willingly and knowingly taking advantage of people and, really being like a shitty person. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like a motherfucker could be mad at me and talk about me however the fuck they feel and want to. Cool, you know,
Yeah.
like that's your personal opinion. But for me to be able to stand on my character and everybody who
Yeah.
really know whether you love me or not, like if you're not just hating me, you really gonna speak on my name for all of that shit to be, you know, like conversation. Like that's fine with me. We don't have to be
Yeah.
friends. Like you don't have to
Oh yeah.
like me. You know what I mean? But be for real
Oh yeah.
about who the fuck I am and what the fuck I be doing. You
That's
know?
the truth. That's the truth. It's like I think that as we navigate in the world, we have to be authentic in our journey because it's like to do anything different would be an injustice to yourself. And I've always had to walk that walk. I'm an honest person, even to my fault. It's like I
She
feel
said I'm
like
an honest hoe, and all my hoes is honest.
exactly. I'm gonna tell it the motherfucking truth, okay?
You ever
Just
seen
because,
Harlem Nights?
no, I haven't seen Halloween
Oh
Nights.
my god! Like, what the
I
fuck is
probably
wrong
have
with you
seen it.
people?
I've seen a lot of shit that I don't remember, but I
Nah,
watch all the
motherfucker. If you
movies.
seen Harlem Nights, you're not gonna forget it. You know, it was Eddie Murphy,
And
Della
mm,
um, what's his name, Richard Pryor. Like, you seen this movie Red Fox, you would know that you saw this motherfucking
I
movie. And I
may
can't
have seen
believe
it.
that you damn near 50 motherfucking years old and you ain't seen this movie. It ain't no may have seen it in my ass. Like it's one of the best
If I
fucking
might see
movies
it, I
that
might
has
go see
ever
it.
been fucking produced. It ain't no go see it. It's older than me.
It's, I can go Google that right now. Like, how old
Yeah.
is Harlem Nights? Let's see. I'm gonna ask Google. How old is
Ask Google.
Harlem Nights? Like, don't hear me. Forget it, Google. You can't hear me,
Don't forget it, Google. Ask that bitch.
girl. Harlem Nights. Oh, there it is. That's 1989. Damn.
That's the
It's
year I
from
was born.
1989.
And I
All
was
right,
born
so I
in
got.
December of 89.
Let me see. It's not. I have so many streaming platforms. I have Amazon Prime. Oh my
Me
god.
too.
I'd have to pay for it. Seriously? Oh hell no.
Impossible. Something on there got it for free.
I know they must have it for free. Nice stream for free. I'm gonna say stream for free. Stream free.
Watch that shit on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. It is. All right, I'll watch it on YouTube. That's funny. All right, I'm gonna have to watch Harlem Nights. That might be something I watch tonight. Um, let's see. Okay, so I think we done good so far.
Yeah,
We did good, good.
that was cool. And that's cool because my phone is on 3%.
Mine is on 58%. I charged all my devices last night.
I
Okay.
don't never charge my phone.
All right. So I'm gonna do my final thought, only because we've been so good and thorough on our topics. I think that I'm gonna wrap us up now. All right. So I'm gonna talk about my beef with Hasbro, just because that's my baby, and as a mom, I am Mama Bear. And I remember I have this one popular episode on Spotify where I talk about the slap heard across the world by Will Smith. But when you really dig into the topic that I was discussing, it was about bullying. And as a parent, I have always been, me and my husband, we've always been completely involved in what our kids were experiencing, right? And now that my daughter is 28 and she has her own business, I am livid that Hasbro has the audacity to send her a cease and desist letter. And I just want to plug her products or her business, which is App Talk Pins on Instagram, and that she's an excellent original artist. But she does do fan art, and I believe the fan art community deserves to be celebrated because it's because of them that they've been able to even bring back old toys and old products and old thoughts. People, I was asking my best friend the other day if she knew what Furby was. She said she didn't know what Furby was. She thought Furby was something that my daughter created. That's how old Furby is and how much people don't know what Furby is. And for them to be able to bring that product out that they couldn't even sell anymore, so they had to take them off the shelves because it was scaring the consumer. They couldn't turn that asshole off. So that's the history of Furby. The last thing everybody remembers about that damn thing is that you couldn't turn that bitch off. It didn't have an off switch. So anyway, um, I have the corporate office's phone number. I'm gonna call them myself. I'm gonna email them Hasbro at 1027 Newport Avenue in Pawtucket, Rhode Island 02862. Their phone number is 401-431-8697. And toll free, their number is 800-242-7276. They need to apologize to my daughter and make her an official, and make her Instagram and all of her pages official uh, Furby fan pages. That's what they need to do. They need to utilize this community who, when they bring out the product, will spend thousands of dollars just to buy this product, which I don't even think is worthy. Because these, like I said, are original artists. Anyway, so I am going
Is it
to
safe to
start a
ask a
campaign.
question?
Huh?
Is it safe to ask a question?
Go ahead, ask a question.
So, um, my question would be, aside from, like, emotionally, and that being your baby, and her being
Mm-hmm.
a great artist, and
Mm-hmm.
things like that, like legally, like what does the law say? Because what you said,
I don't
something
care
that
what the
kind of,
law says.
hold on,
I do
wait,
not
but that's
care.
that, I mean, that, like, that's fine, you don't
Everybody
have
keeps
to
on
care what
coming
the law
back with
says.
that. It's
But
like, you
no,
know
but
what?
listen,
They can
listen, wait, listen.
decide.
Let me
They
finish.
can
Let me finish
decide.
my statement. Let me finish my
Mm-hmm.
statement. Let me finish my statement. Because, like, what made me think about it mostly was when you said about how your friend didn't know what Furby was, and she thought that it was something that your daughter created. Like, cool, it's fine. Your daughter being a
Mm-hmm.
great artist, and she's doing these things, and she's, giving life back to Furby, but it would have made more sense if she went to Hasbro, had the conversation, gained their permission, and then, because when people sample songs, you know what I mean, and it's something that you intend on making money off of, like, legally, you have to go through process of
No, I
getting
understand
permission.
that.
You
I
know what I mean?
do.
So had
Yeah.
she, like, like, we would have had this conversation prior to, and like, hey, like, let's reach out to them and say, hey, I have this great idea. You know what I mean? Like, I created this, like, look at this, and let's say,
No, I
like,
understand that.
mind you, my creative, like, what they say, my creative property is mine, so I can get a patent on, like, the changes or the
Yeah.
upgrades that I do before I have this conversation with you. You know what I mean? And then go to Hasbro and have this conversation and say, hey, whatever. And if they shot you down, cool, be upset, whatever, then, you can have your vendetta. Not to say that you can have your vendetta now, but this is just me asking this question because I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure when approach them, that this is something that a motherfucker's gonna be like, well, this is, like, where it is and how we stand. So what's the how do you say, the rebuttal to that? You know what I mean? Like,
No, I
what about
understand
that
that.
factor?
I do. I truly understand that. And I've thought this through because in today's day and age, the number one difference between what Hasbro created, which is a physical toy that goes onto product shelves, is is their part. You know what I mean? Now, this artist community has brought that and forged it into the social media construct, basically. And that's where it didn't exist before. So, number one, they need to say thank you for revitalizing something that would have never been remembered, brought to social media. They didn't put it on social media. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't even something that they thought probably they could bring back. They shelved it. So this is an archive toy. And what has made it become something are the people who just sell it on eBay, uh, do artist renditions of it, created this artist community. So I feel like they did a lot of the legwork for Hasbro in revitalizing the idea of this long forgotten toy that they no longer sold on in the brick and mortar stores anymore. They didn't even sell the toy online. You see what I'm saying? Hasbro wasn't thinking about Furby. Hasbro has Transformers. They have other products that they were, you know, putting all of their efforts into, all their money into, all their marketing into. And who did the lead work? Who did the hard work? Who brought it into the lives of the of new invigorated uh, potential consumers? The people on social media, the artists who created new characters out of the old ideas of those toys. You know what I mean? So, number one, they're creating original art. It is based on the character Furby, but it's not what Furby produces. Like I said, I created a post on their Instagram talking about their market share. Their market share is the toy business, the physical toy business. They don't create enamel pins, they don't make backpacks, they don't make any of the other products that are being sold on these other sites. And yet they're trying to say cease and desist. Cease and desist what? It's like you guys don't sell backpacks. You don't sell enamel pin art. You don't create different characters out of the Furbies that exist. You haven't done none of that. And you pay people big dollars to work for you. And none of them thought of that. So what, like I said, what they should do is be thanking the social media fan art community for doing what they did because it was free advertising for them. It was free marketing for them, and using their artistic creativity, like I said, to breathe life into an old antiquated toy. That's my point. That's my whole point. It's like go sell your toy. Go get happy and sell your toy and make money. But don't punish the people who did from their own pockets make your old archive toy into something special. Because it sure once wasn't special all by itself. It's because of these art communities that it became something special. So they can take that and run with it. And if I were them, I would, like I said, I would make these communities into official licensed fan art pages because they have built a following. They are the my daughter's 21,000 followers are following her. They're not following Hasbro or Furby. They're following her. So the best thing they can tap into is her fan base. You see what I'm saying? Because her fans will become Furby fans and Hasbro fans. But if they ostracize my daughter, her fans are gonna go elsewhere. They're gonna rebrand, and they're gonna decide not to be Furby fans. That's what they're doing now. They're gonna decide not to be Furby fans, and she can have her own product because that's how creative she is. But I say, hey, capitalize on it and make
So
her
I'm at
official.
1% now.
Okay. Well, we're
Uh,
done. We are done. All right, guys. So until the next time,
it's gonna
uh,
be what it is.
it'll be what it is. All right, Andre. I'll see you later. Until
All
our
right, I'll
next
see you later.
conversation. All right.
Okay, bye.